What is up, awesome people of the internet, and welcome to another edition of Women's Basketball Weekly, your weekly source for all things women's basketball. And y'all, we got a good show for you today. I will get you all caught up with the NCAA games from last week that you need to know about. We will preview some of the games to look forward to for the rest of this week. We will also take a look at the AP poll that just came out and talk about the March Madness dates that you need to know. For the WNBA, we have a lot to get into as well. From the Seattle Storm building a super team with Nneka Ogwumike signing with the team today. We'll talk about A'ja Wilson's new book. We'll break down Sheryl Swoops' comments about Caitlin Clark. And we'll also talk about Michael Porter Jr.'s comments about the WNBA. So, with all of that out of the way, let's get into it. Cue the intro. All right, what another amazing week of women's college basketball. If you missed it, here are some updates that you all need to know. South Carolina continued to dominate the competition. They beat Auburn 76-54, and they also beat Ole Miss 85-56. Now, yes, there's a lot that we can talk about with some of those games. However, there is one thing that I really do want to highlight is that during the Ole Miss game, in the first quarter, to be specific, there was a play where Marquisha Davis on Ole Miss, she fell, Bree Hall accidentally stepped on her hair and pulled it off. And after recognizing what happened, both teams kind of got together and kind of huddled their knees together to prevent people from actually seeing what was going on while Marquisha Davis was able to fix herself. And to me, that was just a great example of humanity and just showing that even in a fierce game where you are competing and you want to win and you want to beat the other team, it's still like that moment showed that, like, hey, man, they realized that, man, this could be me. I would want somebody to protect me. So let's huddle around. Let's make sure the camera angle ain't gonna really see what's going on. And good on the camera staff for panning away and shooting some other stuff. And at first it looked like Dawn Staley was gonna get upset at that play. She was like, "What is going on?" And then the referee told her, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I get it." I am not going to play that play. I'm not gonna play that because I don't know. I wouldn't want somebody to play that of me if that happened to me. So if you really want to watch it that bad, there's other sources for you to watch that particular play. But I thought it was just a great moment of humanity circled around a fierce competitive game. So shout out to the South Carolina Gamecocks for looking out for their fellow SEC competitor. All right, so K-State is really starting to feel the effects of Ayoka being out due to injury. The Wildcats dropped 2 straight games last week. They first lost to unranked Oklahoma 66-63. They also lost to Texas 61-54. Now Ayoka will be out for a couple more weeks, so we will see what Coach Jeff Mittie is able to do, because K-State kind of needs to turn it around before Ayoka comes back, because if she comes back and they're still in this downturn, I mean, their prospects won't seem very high going into the NCAA tournament. Iowa is continuing to be on a roll. They headed up to my neck of the woods and played Northwestern, and in that game, Caitlin Clark surpassed Kelsey Mitchell as the number 2 on the NCAA's all-time scoring list. Iowa beat Northwestern 110-74. And they played Maryland on Saturday in a game that was way closer than the final score let on. Iowa beat Maryland 93-85. USC had a phenomenal week last week, and more specifically, JuJu Watkins had an amazing week. From scoring 51 points against Stanford and helping her team win 67-58, to continuing her great scoring with 29 points, helping her team to beat Cal 79-69. It was all about JuJu Watkins and that bun on her head. I do want to highlight a specific moment that I thought was super, super special, when a girl came up to JuJu for an autograph, and y'all, look at her hair. I love to see it. Y'all, if you didn't know, now you know. USC is back, courtesy of JuJu Watkins. UConn had a good bounce back week last week. They beat Villanova 81-60 and St. John's 78-63. A big shout out to Aaliyah Edwards for scoring her career high 33 points against St. John's. And continuing with the U schools, UCLA is struggling big time. They lost last Monday to Washington State, 85-82. They bounced back against Cal, beating them 78-58. And then yesterday, they took a big old step back, losing to Stanford, 80-60. Now, a huge contributing factor to the losses is the fact that Lauren Betts is still out and is considered day-to-day due to an undisclosed medical reason. Coach Corey Close said that Betts will return this season, but still day-to-day, we don't exactly know when Lauren Betts will be back. And another reason to that specific terrible loss against Stanford is the fact that UCLA only had 8 players available for that game. Here's to hoping that UCLA is able to get it together soon. And one more, for good measure, Utah won both of their games last week, beating Washington 83-65, and they beat Washington State 73-61. And once again, Alyssa Peely continues to pull up big numbers, scoring 31 points in that game against Washington. All right, staying in the Pac-12 for just another sec, Colorado enjoyed a great week against the Washington Schools last week. But a thing to note is that Charlize Legger-Walker tore her ACL and was ruled out for the rest of the season for Washington State. So that is a key reason to why Washington State has had such a bad week last week, losing in their games. Now on to the ACC. Louisville is leading the conference. They had one game last week, defeating Syracuse 81-69. Now, a thing to note about this game is that even though Syracuse lost, this was a huge win for Deasia Fair, who moved into 5th place on the NCAA's all-time scoring list. So a huge, huge, huge shout out to Deasia Fair. I know there's lots of conversation about Caitlin Clark and the record she's breaking, but Deasia Fair is doing her thing as well. So shout out to Deasia Fair. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it one time. Y'all better put some respect on Oklahoma's name. They are really looking good in the Big 12 and are currently leading the conference. And as I mentioned earlier, they beat K-State 66-63. And they also beat Oklahoma State last week 81-74. Now, a question that I have for you all is, do you think it's possible for Oklahoma to go undefeated for the remainder of conference play? Because they've already beat Texas so far this year. They play them again. They also play Baylor in the future. So I guess the question is, will they be undefeated? Possibly. But time will tell. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. Other things to note about last week is the fact that Ohio State is continuing to head in the right direction. On Sunday, they beat Indiana 74-69. And y'all, I'm going to just say this right now. Cody McMahon is heating up. Big Ten teams, you better be watching out because you have been warned. That 1-2 punch of J.C. Sheldon and Cody McMahon is looking pretty dangerous. So for sure, Ohio State and Iowa are the teams to beat in the Big Ten. All right, now with all of that being said, let's get you into the AP Top 25 for week 14. And y'all, can you believe it's been 14 weeks already? All right, so here we go. All right, so we begin with South Carolina, who, of course, again, are the unanimous pick at number 1. They are 21-0 on the season. We do have Iowa, who moved up a spot from last week, which I assume they were the AP was going to do that. They are now 21-2 on the season and are in 2nd place. But y'all, this 2nd place spot, something seems to be wrong with it because whoever gets put there basically immediately gets dropped back down. So we'll see how long Iowa stays in that position. We have NC State at number 3. They moved up 2 spots from last week as well. They had a pretty good week in terms of winning some big games, including that big game against North Carolina. Yes, North Carolina isn't the best team in the world. However, that was a very, very close game. Very close game. We have Colorado, who moved up 2 spots as well with some big games, including a win against both of the Washington schools. And they are in 4th place. We have Ohio State that is just continuing to move on up. Ohio State has really found their groove. Cody McMahon is balling out of control. And then J.C. Sheldon, of course, is continuing to ball. And then you have other players on Ohio State as well, just all gelling together, which is making Ohio State look very, very good in the Big Ten. They are now 19-3 on the season and are in 5th place. We have Stanford at number 6. They did move down, which makes sense. They had that massive loss against USC, where basically the team was almost outscored by JuJu Watkins on her own. They had 58 points as a team, and JuJu Watkins had 51 points. So it's crazy. It makes sense why they dropped down the way they did. I am surprised that they didn't drop down even lower. But 6th place is fine for Stanford. They are now 20-3 on the season. We have Texas, who dropped down, or actually who went up, I should say, 5 spots. They are 21-3 on the season and are in 7th place, continuing to rock and roll in the Big 12. We also have, for another Big 12 team, we have K-State, who has gone down 6 spots. They were at number 2, but as I said, there's something about that number 2 spot where they end up losing the next week. So K-State lost 2 massive games because of Ayoka Lee being out. Ayoka Lee is a player that K-State heavily relies on, especially when they're playing a team that is able to get in the paint and grab some rebounds. That's something that K-State is struggling with, and we'll see if they're able to turn it around before Ayoka Lee comes back, because she'll be out for a couple more weeks. So they are now in 8th place, dropping down 6 spots. We have UCLA, who have dropped as well. They had 2 pretty bad losses this week, including a huge one against Stanford on Sunday, I should say. They are now 17-4 on the season. And again, just like K-State, UCLA is missing their big woman in the middle. Lauren Betts is day-to-day. She will be back this season, according to head coach Corey Close. But we don't know when she'll be back. So that is definitely a point of concern for UCLA fans. They really do run on the speed of Lauren Betts, so we will see what happens. We have USC, who moved up 5 spots. Makes a lot of sense. JuJu Watkins is continuing to do her thing for USC. It's just sort of special to see the resurgence of USC by JuJu Watkins. They won their games last week. All right, going down the list, we have UConn at number 11. Makes sense. I mean, they're continuing to win games in the Big East. Yes, they did have that one upset against Notre Dame, 2 weeks ago. But they have written the ship and won their games last week. Speaking of Notre Dame, they moved up 2 spots and are at 12. At the 12th spot, Hannah Hidalgo just continues to do her thing. She is the fastest person to 500 points for Notre Dame. So shout out to Hannah Hidalgo for that. Hannah Hidalgo is just balling, y'all, and she's still a freshman. Just like JuJu. They still freshmen, y'all. LSU went down 4 spots. Made sense. They're now in the 13th spot because of that loss that they had last Monday against Mississippi State. So y'all may not remember last Monday when the new AP poll was released for week 13. That night, LSU lost in an upset game against Mississippi State. So it makes sense that they're going to drop down. They did have a comeback game against Florida, but Florida is a very different team than Mississippi State. So, I don't think that helped them much. We have Indiana, who went down 4 spots. Makes sense. They did have that big loss against Ohio State. We have Louisville continuing to just sort of do their thing quietly in the ACC. They moved up 1 spot to number 15. We have Virginia Tech that's just, also continuing to do their thing as well. They're number 16. We have Oregon State as well. These Pac-12 teams, man, the Pac-12 is crazy. I'm gonna just say the Pac-12 has been real crazy, and we've just seen lots of spikes with Pac-12 teams. Like, who's gonna win, who's gonna lose? You just don't know. On any given day, you just don't know. For Baylor, they are dropped 5 spots from last week. They are now in the 18th spot. They are 17-4 on the season. Gonzaga is at number 19. The sisters are still doing their thing. They're still doing their thing from Gonzaga. Not Washington. Utah is at number 20 with some big games last week as well. They are 17-6 on the season. Creighton is representing for the Big East alongside UConn. They are in the 21st spot with a record of 18-3. West Virginia, something. They are that was stupid. That was so stupid. West Virginia is in the 22nd spot with a record of 19-2. And y'all, question: when y'all see the West Virginia logo, do y'all see the Wonder Woman logo? Like I don't know. I see the Wonder Woman logo when I look at West Virginia. I'm just saying. Anyway, I think of that song, that song that I don't even know the words to. All I know is West Virginia, something, take me home, you know? Anyway, West Virginia continues to do their thing, slowly but surely moving up on the rankings. Shout out to those Big East women Big 12 women of West Virginia. For the 23rd spot, we have Syracuse, who have dropped 2 spots from last week. They are 18-4 on the season. We have Oklahoma that are in the top 25. Oklahoma, they really have been doing their thing. I know there hasn't been that much talk about them. I haven't talked about them that much on my channel, but y'all, Oklahoma, they're steady Freddy. They're a team that, works hard, is not a flashy team at all. Probably won't get that much recognition, but they're slowly but surely winning games. So shout out to those Cowgirls at Oklahoma. And then we have Princeton, who is once again in the top 25. They're the lone representatives for the Ivy League women. They just continue to do their thing for the Ivy League. So we'll continue to see how they do, and especially as we go into tournament play, be interested to see where Princeton lies. So other teams that receive votes this week include UNLV. We have North Carolina, Fairfield, which is a team that I have not watched a game this year of, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Florida State, Michigan, and one lonely vote for Duke. All right, guys, that is your top 25 for this week. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you have any comments about a team that made it or a team that didn't make it to the top 25 list? What do you think about the rankings and how exactly that went around? Would you have put LSU lower? Would you have put UCLA lower? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, continuing on with some NCAA coverage, here are some of the big games that you all need to watch for this week. And all of these games and times are going to be in Central. So Central Time, if you have any questions about that. So on Thursday, February the 8th, we have Notre Dame versus Louisville at 5 o'clock on ESPN. We have Iowa versus Penn State at 8 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. We have Virginia Tech versus NC State at 7 p.m. on the ACC Network. We have Indiana versus Michigan State at 6 p.m. on Peacock. And we have South Carolina versus Mizzou at 6 o'clock on the SEC Network. Keep in mind that Camila Cardoso is out and will be out for the next 2 games due to her commitment with Team Brazil. On Friday, we have Utah versus Oregon State at 8 o'clock. I cannot seem to find a network for this game, so you all may have to listen to school radio and see if they're covering the game, either Utah or Oregon State. On Saturday, we have Baylor versus West Virginia at 2 p.m. on ESPN+. We also have Oklahoma versus Iowa State at 6 p.m. on ESPN+ as well. And on Sunday, we have a whole slate of games headlined by South Carolina versus UConn at 1 p.m. on ESPN. Again, this is going to be a game without Camila Cardoso, but Plies is going to be in the building, so maybe that evens it out somehow. Y'all, if y'all not following Plies on Twitter, this man is like the biggest South Carolina Gamecock fan, and he said he's going to be in the building for that game against UConn. So I guess you won't see Camila Cardoso, but you may see Plies. So, maybe it's a fair trade. I don't know. but for sure, Camila Cardoso will be a huge loss for this team. But I'm very much interested to see how South Carolina is able to play without her, especially with Aaliyah Edwards in the paint. But I'm sure Ashton Watkins will be A-OK. We will also have more games, including Louisville versus Syracuse at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m., I should say, on the CW network. We have Notre Dame versus Florida State at 11 a.m. on the ACC network. And we have Iowa versus Nebraska at noon on Fox. There's a load of other games, but those are some of the highlights that I wanted to let you all know about. If there's any game that you're like, this should be on the must-watch list, Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know the games that you all are also going to be checking out next for this upcoming week. Now, we do not have a ton of time before the NCAA tournament begins. So before that comes, I do want to remind you all of a couple of things. So the tournament will include 68 total Division I schools, and the top 16 seeds will be able to host the first and second round. Now, here are the dates that you all need to know about. So on Selection Sunday, that will be hosted on March the 17th. We will know all the rankings. So if you all are starting to build up your brackets already, let me know. We can kind of compare notes closer to March. The first four games will start. The first four games will start on March the 20th through the 21st. Now this happens before the first round actually begins. And the first round begins March the 22nd through the 23rd. Second round is March the 24th through the 25th. Then we go over to the Sweet 16, which are held in regionals. And we have both the Albany Regional and the Portland Regional. Both of those regionals will be happening from March the 29th through April the 1st. And the Final Four begins on April the 5th. And we have the final game, the championship game, on April the 7th in Cleveland, Ohio. So y'all better get excited because we about to see some great basketball as we head into March Madness and then going all the way into the championship game. Do you all have predictions for who is going to be in that final game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, now we've passed NCAA. Now we are on to the WNBA and the big news. As of today, February 5th, it is official that 8-time All-Star, 6-time All-WNBA pick, and 2016 WNBA MVP, Nneka Ogwumike has signed with the Seattle Storm. Now, with this move, I am wondering, do we have another super team on our hands? Question mark, question mark. Well, we have Jewel Lloyd, we have Skylar Diggins-Smith, and we have Nneka Ogwumike that are going to be pairing up with the young talent that Seattle has in Jordan Horston and Ezi Magmagor. I'm just saying, Seattle is looking kind of special right now. In response to the signing of Nneka Ogwumike, Noel Quinn said, "The chance to coach Nneka, a veteran in our league with championship experience, is such an incredible opportunity for our team. Nneka is an efficient scorer, a strong rebounder, an elite defender, and is one of the most versatile players in the W. We know she will immediately elevate our play this season." And for Nneka, here's what she said. She said, "I'm stepping into this season of change with U Seattle, with my teammates, coaches, staff, organization, ownership, and most importantly, the fans. Every part of me is grateful and ready for this opportunity to continue to be great and sustain legacy. You can't calm this storm." It's kind of funny. Now it is clear that the Seattle Storm management understood the assignment. It wasn't about building a team that's better than the previous year. It's all about assembling the pieces together to build a team that can go toe-to-toe with those ladies over in Vegas. And it looks like Seattle might have done just that. Now, in terms of scoring, Seattle has it for days now. Last year, Nneka finished the season ranked 6th in the WNBA with scoring with 19.1 points a game. She was also very elite with rebounding as well, with 8.8 rebounds a game, and steals with 1.7 steals per game. Jewel Lloyd was ranked number 1 in the WNBA last year for scoring with 24.7 points per game. And in 2022, because she was out last season due to pregnancy, Skylar Diggins-Smith was 3rd in scoring with 19.7 points a game. Y'all, it is scary, scary, scary times in Seattle. Now, what are your thoughts about Seattle signings? Let me know in the chat. Also, if y'all live near Seattle and you haven't bought tickets yet, I'm wondering, what are you waiting for? It is going to be box office in Seattle. So y'all better get y'all tickets right now because it's going to be a show. It's going to be a real show for the Seattle Storm. All right, so Nneka is going to the Seattle Storm, which means, of course, that the sky swung and missed again on a high-level player. And it looks like even though the Liberty got Nneka courtside tickets to a Nets game, it wasn't enough to get her to sign with them. All right, so you may be wondering what is happening with the other signings of the WNBA. Well, let's go down the list and talk about them. All right, so here's everything else that happened in the WNBA in terms of signings. So we have Brianna Frazier, who signed a training camp contract with the New York Liberty. We have Brianna Jones, who signed her core contract with the Connecticut Sun. Nneka Ogwumike, again, big news, signed with the Seattle Storm. Taya Raymer is signed to a training camp contract with the Chicago Sky. Diamond DeShields is back with the Chicago Sky. She signed a contract with the team. So shout out Diamond DeShield. We're interested to have you. We're happy to have you back, basically. All the people who have Diamond DeShield's jerseys are rejoicing right now. The Sky version of her jersey, because, you know, at one point, Diamond's jerseys were the only jerseys on sale. If you were a Sky fan and you wanted to get a jersey, it was basically Diamonds, and I think it was Courtney Vandersloot's that was on sale for a long time. And this is when we had Candace Parker. And so a lot of Sky fans got Diamond DeShield's jersey, and they were upset when she left the Sky. And now, hey, she back. So y'all better put on y'all jerseys now. I hope y'all didn't give them away. We have Kamira McDaniel, who signed a training camp contract with the Las Vegas Aces. Stu Dufall, who was waived from the Chicago Sky, has signed a contract with the Connecticut Sun. We have Kristen Williams, who signed a training camp contract with the Phoenix Mercury. Also, we have a trade where the Phoenix Mercury got Rebecca Allen and the Connecticut Sun got Mariah Jefferson. I am slightly confused about why this trade even happened, but, you know, it is what it is. Let me know you all's thoughts specifically about this trade. You know, we see here this past Friday, the Sky renounced their rights to Stu Dufall. Sydney Weiss signed a training camp contract with the Connecticut Sun. Also, Kiana Smith and Renaya Davis signed a training camp contract as well. We have Virag Kiss, who signed a training camp contract with the LA Sparks. Taylor Mikesell, same thing. Monique Billings signed a contract with the LA Sparks as well. And we have Kiana Traylor and Liz Dixon with training camp contracts for the Minnesota Lynx. I think I have a previous video updating you all on the rest of the stuff that happened, but the Aces are making some moves. They got Kia Stokes back. They got Megan Gustafson and Pancake in the building. Y'all, if y'all don't know Pancake, y'all need to know Pancake. That's like the best dog in the world. Very photogenic dog of Megan Gustafson's. Sydney Colson has a training camp contract with the Las Vegas Aces. And we have Morgan Jones, who signed a rookie scale contract with the Las Vegas Aces as well. Kalani Brown is back with the Dallas Wings, and Bridget Carlton is back with the Minnesota Lynx. All right, so those are some of the updates that you all needed to know about. Let me know your thoughts about transactions that happened. Are you surprised about Diamond DeShields ending back up with the Chicago Sky? Let me know. If you have any other surprises, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, if y'all are readers, y'all may want to cop A'ja Wilson's new book, which releases tomorrow. The book is called Dear Black Girls, How to Be True to You. And according to the description, Dear Black Girls is a necessary and meaningful exploration of what it means to be a Black woman in America today and a rallying cry to lift up women and girls everywhere. Now, A'ja has been promoting this book left and right, and she was on Draymond's podcast recently. She also will be on The Late Show tomorrow. That is Tuesday. So that's all pretty exciting. Shout out to A'ja Wilson on releasing a book. I don't know what is involved in releasing a book, but I'm sure it's a lot of work. So shout out to her for getting that done. If reading is your thing, y'all, if reading is your thing, you might want to add this book to your list. All right. Now moving on to a controversial topic, Sheryl Swoops and what she said or didn't say about Caitlin Clark. I've seen this become more and more a thing on social media. So let's just go clip by clip and dissect what she said so you all can decide for yourself what you think about it.
So when you look at Caitlin Clark and what she's doing now, on the verge of breaking Kelsey Plum's record, obviously generational college basketball career, how do you think her game will translate to the W?
So that's a two-part question for me. Because I say this, yes, records are made and said to be broken. But if you're going to break a record, this isn't just for...
So we're gonna get into the rest of her comment, but I'm gonna pause it here. There has been a lot of criticism of Sheryl Swoops on this particular comment right here that she's about to state, because I think she was slightly confused about Caitlin Clark and her status as a player. Caitlin Clark is in her true senior year, but it seems that Sheryl Swoops initially thought that Caitlin Clark was playing in college basketball for much longer, and this was like her 5th year or some sort. So she's gonna go into a rant about records and how it's not fair for a player to break a record in more than 5 years and have it considered a record versus back then when they didn't have the COVID year, players not being able to take advantage of 5 years, and they got the records that they got. So we're gonna get into it, but there was controversy around that and warranted, because she was slightly confused about like Caitlin's status as a true senior.
For Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that player set it.
Okay.
Right? So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
As I said earlier, this is incorrect. Sheryl was just slightly confused about Caitlin's status.
I don't know.
You think exactly how
I don't think so, but yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be.
And the sad part is that record would never be broken because no
There
one's
will never
gonna...
be another COVID year.
COVID year. Well,
hopefully not,
there's
right?
never going to be probably another 5 or 6 years you can play in college sports, right? And that's the thing about it, right? Like, it should be a whole separate entity, right? Like this record is this record because of 5 years, or it has a 5th year. So whoever's playing 5 years, y'all in this lane, right? The normal is here.
Yeah, and it's not to take anything away from what she's done, but if you're talking about breaking records, then if this player did it in this amount of time, then you should do it in that same amount of time. So that's my thought on that.
So yeah, that was Sheryl Swoops' initial comments about Caitlin Clark, and she's gonna go on a little bit more and share some more thoughts. But there was quite a bit of controversy around what she said about the record thing, because for this specific case, that does not apply to Caitlin, though it does apply to other players. Like, for example, De'Asia Fair. She's a player who is in her 5th year. So yeah, that does apply to a player like her, but not necessarily to Caitlin, as long as Caitlin leaves after this season. But the point about should there be an asterisk around the name is a valid point. It's just specifically does not apply to Caitlin Clark this season. But if she stays another year, then yeah, it does apply. But she's going to break the record like next week anyway. So
This is not NBA, folks. We're not talking about NBA where you played 10 years and I played 20 years. That's not the same. We can only play 4 years, right? If we're there 5 years, goddamn it, we redshirted. Well, we're not allowed to play.
Yeah, and
there's no
so in the
stats.
COVID year,
COVID year, I get to play and like, oh, COVID happened. I'm gonna come back next year and I'm the same grade. Like what? But you averaged 35 last year. I'm gonna average 35 again.
Because to your point, here's the other thing. So she can come back another year. She has another year where she can come back. She doesn't have to go like she doesn't have to.
So what year is this for her?
So this is her. She's a senior. She's a senior, but I think her COVID year was last year.
incorrect.
Or this year. I don't know. She can come back another year.
I just know some of those had chances of playing 6 years.
But let's also talk about how much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them. But you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Mm-hmm. Like, you should be killing them. Yeah. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but I know she can come back another year.
Yeah, this is her fourth season, so she would be
She'd be legit.
a senior.
She can just come back one more year if she decided to.
Yes, so that would be her COVID year. And so she has said she doesn't know if she's leaving or if she's coming back.
Okay.
So
these stats matter. That next year stat, that should just be like, we don't even count.
That's true. That is true.
I think she's supposed to get it by some point in early February based on her current projection.
And which she probably will.
Yeah.
Because she can shoot the basketball. No doubt about it. So here's my question, and I'm gonna, or my answer to your question. How will that translate to the WNBA?
So here's another point that people were upset about. So let's get into it.
So before I answer that, I'm going to go back to something I said before when you asked me the same thing about Angel. And so what I had said was I think Angel will eventually be a good pro. I don't think Angel will come into the league immediately and dominate the way people think she will. And I say that for people who have never watched a WNBA game. It's good. Like there's talent. Like these women can play. And because there are very few roster spots. Like it's a real job. So people look at new players coming in, whether that's out of college, players who've been overseas, and they look at that and say, oh, you trying to come take my job. Like, no, it's not gonna be that easy. So will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not.
So yeah, that's basically what people were upset about. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I thought, yes, that first part, she was confused about Caitlin Clark's record. She was corrected. Great. Perfectly fine. Not a problem. Not a problem to be slightly confused about like where Caitlin's at, mainly because like there's a lot of players in the NCAA. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that Sheryl is probably thinking about. So like that specific one directed towards Caitlin, wrong. But the point that she was trying to make in terms of records and having COVID years and all that stuff, valid point. But the packaging it around Caitlin, that was wrong because Caitlin is in her true senior year. The point about Caitlin Clark not dominating, wish she could be a good pro, yes, but will she dominate day one? No. People are upset about that. But like, again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I am going to share my thoughts about this. I think that she was right. You know, the WNBA is a really good league. Like it's not college. So yes, Caitlin is putting up huge numbers and doing all this great stuff, but to imagine her dropping 40 and whatnot, you know, in the WNBA as a rookie, it's hard to imagine. Will she be a rookie of the year? Probably. Will she be a phenomenal pro when it comes down to it in terms of like maybe even an all-time great? Maybe. Day one, is she going to do that? No. Like, I don't think so. If she does, then she's a unicorn. You know, we've only seen a couple of rookies ball out of control in their rookie year. You've seen it with we saw it with Candace Parker, you know. It's not many Candace Parkers. We saw it with Asia Wilson. It's not many Asia Wilsons. I believe we saw it with Maya Moore. Not many Maya Moore. Like it's rare for that to happen as a rookie, to be dominating in the WNBA. That is very, very rare. So can Caitlin do it? Possibly. But it's more likely that she's going to be a great pro. She's probably going to be rookie of the year. She's going to be good. Is she going to dominate the league like she's dominating the NCAA? No, I don't think so. If I'm proven wrong, great, you know, but the WNBA is a really good league. A really, really, really good league. And I feel like sometimes, you know, with the hype around college players, people forget that and they just think, oh, it's like a lateral move when it's not. It's not lateral. So, yeah.
Not going to happen.
Okay. Not on the right team? Like one of them bottom feeding teams that.
So to answer that question, Caitlin Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Carry on.
That part is incorrect. She does not take 40 shots a game. So that is incorrect. Now here is Caitlin's game by game stats. And as we can see here, she usually hovers around 20 or so field goals per game. Like we're looking in this column right here. 13, 14, 25, 20, 31, 19, 21, 21, 22, 34, 22, 18, 21, 18, 25, 22 in college right now. So, that part is incorrect. But I think there is generally a feeling from people who probably don't necessarily look at the stats like that Caitlin shoots a lot of shots. And she does. She does shoot a lot of shots. But is it 40? No.
I know you like that.
Yeah.
I said that because when she comes to the league, regardless of what team she goes to that has vets on that team, she probably ain't gonna get 40 shots a game.
She right about that.
Well, y'all don't get to. They don't get to stand on a number one.
I said she might, but I'm
number one pick. This is my team. They don't get to do that over there, huh? See, that's that NBA shit, huh?
And here's the other thing that I know you don't want to talk about is the defense.
Oh yeah, y'all.
No, I'm just like you got to guard somebody. You got to guard somebody. But from even the worst team in the WNBA right now, there's talent on that roster, and so there's a lot of talent coming in, and it's tough. Like it's so tough to make a WNBA roster spot. Like in some cases, even the player that was drafted 5th didn't make a WNBA team this year. So I do think.
And she's right about that. Top players in the WNBA who come into the WNBA don't necessarily make a roster for the regular season. So, has a point.
I think those two players not only will get there, where they will be hell of a WNBA players. They will get there. But more than that, their popularity, I think, will absolutely be good for the league and bring in fans that the league hasn't had before. And that is something that the league needs right now.
Yeah.
That's a fact too. So those all that is from the horse's mouth. Maybe that's a bad thing to say. Anyway, directly from Sheryl Swoops, that is what she said. I've been so you all judge it for yourselves. Judge it for yourselves. Are you judge for yourself. I think there are definitely some parts in this where she was wrong at, in terms of the number of field goal attempts that Caitlin has per game, the fact that she's not a fifth year and she's a fourth year real senior, the fact that she's wrong about some stuff, but the idea that her main point was that Caitlin Clark, well, one was 2 points. It was the fact that Caitlin Clark is not going to be as dominant as she is in college basketball in the WNBA her first year, which has a point, absolutely has a point there. And the other point was about the records thing, which does not apply to Caitlin Clark, but does have a point in terms of maybe there should be an asterisk around those players because they had an extra year or in some cases extra 2 years to hit certain records. So not accurate for Caitlin, but in general pretty accurate. That's what she said. So there's been a lot of controversy. There's been a lot of back and forth. I believe even some of the other greats of women's basketball are like connecting with Sheryl about it. I wanted you all to hear it for yourself and you decide what you want to think from here. I am of the belief that, people can say whatever they want, especially vets that have done so much for the game like Sheryl Swoops. So, was she wrong in certain instances? Yes. She has a point in certain instances as well. Does she hate Caitlin Clark? No. Was she slightly misinformed? Yes. And that's okay. That is okay. I am all for people talking, and she was corrected about a couple things, and that's fine. But y'all, for the people who are dogging Sheryl Swoops, don't do that, man. This lady has done so much for the women's game. Don't do that. Just because she said something incorrect, just say you're wrong. You incorrect on these points and move on. Don't go into it and like insult her and all this other stuff. Like, come on. Like, I don't think y'all know who Sheryl Swoops actually was as a player. Like, I don't think you know. I don't think you know. So put some respect on Sheryl Swoops' name. Yes, she was wrong about some stuff, but she didn't have she wasn't on the internet looking up Caitlyn's stats and like all this stuff as she was talking. She was just sort of talking, and yeah, some of the stuff was wrong, but the main gist of what she was saying, she has a point. Whether you agree or disagree with that point is another thing, but the insults and all this stuff about Sheryl Swoops, y'all wow. Search up Sheryl Swoops on YouTube and look at what she did when she was in the league. I'm just saying, and what she did with Team USA. I'm just saying. All right, so that is the Sheryl Swoops Caitlin Clark controversy of sorts. To a lesser extent, people weren't as upset that Sheryl Swoops basically said a similar thing about Angel Reese, not about her the records or whatever, but around the fact that day one, she's not going to be extremely dominant in the league. Will she be a great pro? Yes. But I didn't really see many people get upset at all about the Angel Reese thing. It was the Caitlin Clark thing that everyone was upset about. But to people's point, they do have a fair point. She was wrong about some stuff, but yeah. Anyway, that is that clip. I did want to just walk you all through that, and you all can decide for yourself. So let me know in the comments, what do you all think about what Sheryl Swoops had to say after listening to basically the entire snippet of conversation. All right, so another controversial thing that happened this past week involves an NBA player, Michael Porter Jr. He is a player who has been rocking some Stewie's shoes on the court, and he was asked about it in the Pivot podcast, and we're going to get into what he said and why everyone is all upset about it. So let's get into it.
You have strong ties to women hoops. We mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
You just recently re-signed or signed a new deal with Puma, right? I saw you rocking the Stewie 2s, Breonna Stewart, her kicks. Have you been outspoken about the pay, the wages in the WNBA and for those ladies?
Yeah.
So he was asked, he made a comment about him rocking Stewie 2s, and then he was asked about, has he been outspoken about the wage stuff regarding the WNBA? And here is his response.
They did an interview with me. I mean, I see it from both sides. I know these females want to get paid more, and they're very talented. But so is a famous ping pong player. They're just as talented as the best ping pong player is just as talented as the best basketball player. That doesn't mean they're going to get paid the same because
they play ping pong.
It's what the people want to watch. You know what I mean? So, as much as I understand females wanting the same treatment as men basketball players, it's a different sport. They're not packing out the arenas. Obviously, their TV deals aren't the same. So as much as I advocate for women and kind of the equality of the respect of their craft and all those things, I mean, you can't pay them the same thing, but I do feel like there should be a little way to make a little bit more money for them because they.
Yeah. So he said that he compared, basketball and ping pong or whatever, and I think in this particular instance he was talking about basketball in general, but I think as people were listening, it was like he was saying like he was comparing women basketball players to ping pong players. And also, people were upset about him saying the word female a lot. I don't have much of an issue about him saying that because I didn't think he was saying it in a derogatory way. He was just describing. So, you know, there's commentary about him using the word female. I don't see that big of an issue with that. But yeah, it was the comparison to the ping pong players that I think because he started talking about women's basketball, everyone's mind went there about you're comparing women's basketball to ping pong. But I think he was saying, like, people find entertainment, like, people's value, like, entertainment level is different. Some people are entertained by ping pong. Some people are entertained by basketball. Like, whatever. They won't get paid the same. But I think he messed up in saying that. Because he should have known that once he say that, he gonna have people that are gonna be like, oh, you comparing ping pong to the WNBA and all this other stuff, and like you just don't like. I think he probably should have been a little bit smarter and not necessarily saying that, because yeah, it's gonna get misconstrued that he is comparing WNBA players to ping pong players. But let's get into everything else that he was saying.
They are very talented.
Yeah, I think the big thing, obviously, when you're thinking about negotiations, labor unions, and different things like that, I don't believe there's any woman that believes she should be paid as a man gets paid. It's more about the revenue share. It's more about the percentage. And I think those things play into it. And then the other side of it is treatment. You know, within their own organizations. Like, they're never, like, they don't.
But it's not as exciting.
No, it's not as exciting.
It's not as exciting.
Dang.
They got lower the rims. I would watch a girl coming down the lane on another. I would watch that.
No, you wouldn't. I would just say, no, you wouldn't. I truly do not believe all the people who say if they just dunked, if they just lowered the rims, I would watch. No, you wouldn't. Maybe you watched the first game or two. I don't believe that they would actually, if the WNBA tomorrow lowered the rims to 9 foot. I don't believe that they go like Michael Porter Jr. Buys season tickets and goes to the games. I think he goes to one, to see what it's all about, and then he forgets about it. You know what I'm saying? And for Fred to be like it's not as exciting. Like, to him, maybe it's not as exciting. Personally, I find way more excitement in the WNBA than I do the NBA. Same thing for women's college basketball versus men's college basketball. You know, we all find entertainment differently, right? There's some people who love golf. There's some people who hate golf. There's some people who love tennis. Some people who hate tennis. Some people who love women's tennis can't stand men's tennis, and vice versa. Like, you know, that stuff happens. But also, like, come on, man. Like, why you got to say it like that? It's not as exciting. Like, yeah. But you know, I will just say, for all the women's basketball fans who are watching this and whatnot and getting really, really upset, this is what people think. This is what a lot of men and a lot of women think about the WNBA, about women's basketball. It is what it is. But let's continue to hear what else he has to say.
They need to lower.
They're actually, as a whole, women work the fundamentals more than most men do because y'all can do that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why.
And you're right about
Play
that.
good basketball.
Right, and that's why, like, the guys who are extremely skilled excel, because it's like, okay, you have all of this talent as well, but you can finish at the rim in different ways. You can handle the rock in different ways. You have floor vision. But women, like, that's the way they get on the court. And so I think those things are different. But I agree with you. They're not going to be paid the same, but it was more about the treatment, percentage, and having an opportunity for revenue.
I was actually going to say about the 65 game rule. That's what I was going to get to.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that was the conversation about the WNBA, and that did the rounds all up and down social media. And a lot of people had lots of thoughts about it. But I wanted to just play it for you all to just decide what for yourselves. You literally heard the entire clip. Yes, I did. I had to like sort of intersperse my comments here and there just so I don't. Hopefully, I don't get a copyright strike on this for using their video. But I think that as women's basketball fans, we have to accept that not everybody will like the game, and that's fine. And people will and there'll be people who think what they're saying is supporting the WNBA and supporting women's basketball when I don't think it is. Like I really do think Michael Porter Jr. believes that he is an ally for the WNBA. I really believe that to his core, he believes that. So I guarantee you, so does Ryan Clark believe that. But if just because you believe that, and just because someone believes that does not mean that they really know the right thing to say, right? And that's, and it is what it is. I think that the decision to compare basketball players to ping pong players and whatnot, while I think he was talking about generally, the specific topic at that moment was about women's sports. So immediately people are gonna think that, oh, you're talking about women's sports and comparing women's basketball to ping pong, which is kind of messed up. But the point of people getting entertained by different stuff is a fair point. Fair point. But I think the delivery of it just looked bad. It just looked really, really bad. And especially for Michael Porter Jr. to be rocking Stewies and to be saying what he's saying, he kind of got lit up on social media by current and former WNBA players. People are upset about the ping pong comment. People are upset about him calling women females. I mean, I understand the ping pong comment. The females thing, I think maybe there's like a generational thing or something like that. Because I hear dudes call women females all the time. It's not, sometimes it's in a derogatory way, but most of the time, at least when I hear it, it's a descriptive, so I personally, I don't really see the issue on that front. But I do see the issue with the ping pong thing, and also with Fred saying it's not as entertaining, and like the idea that if they just lowered the rims, you would actually like really support and go to games and rock with it and all that stuff. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Sure, if there's another league that wants to pop up for women's basketball, not the WNBA, not college, not high school, but if there's a new league that just wants to pop up and decides to lower the rims to make this experiment happen, I would love to see it, because I do not believe that women dunking is going to attract people like Michael Porter Jr. To actually go to games. I don't believe it. And this is not me saying that he doesn't go to games and doesn't support. To make him do it more, I don't believe it. All the people who say that, I don't believe that they would actually want that, because then it would be like, oh man, it's not as elegant. It's not as crafty of a game, because all you're focused on now is dunks. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I just wanted to share those with you, and also just share the full video with you all so you all can hear it for yourself. So let me know in the comments what you all think about the pivot conversation with Michael Porter Jr. around the WNBA. Also, I just think that the question to ask of him is it should not. I don't really agree with the question of you wear Stewie's shoes. What do you think about their pay stuff? Like, you wear Stewie's shoes. Why? Why do you like those shoes? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, then the whole conversation could have been away from where it went. So I don't know. I think it was a missed opportunity for there to be a different conversation about the WNBA had. But you can't. It is what it is. you can't expect all NBA players to be big champions of the league and say the right thing and all this other stuff. You can't really expect that. So for the people who are all upset about it, I mean, I get it. I mean, I get why you're all upset. But at the same time, it's just sort of like, whatever, man. Let us love the game of women's basketball. Let us love the WNBA. Let us find other people, other allies who are open to the WNBA and interested in it as well. And then, if people want to say whatever they want to say, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I guarantee you, let's do an experiment. I guarantee you, if women started dunking like crazy today, the rims were lower, I don't believe that would affect viewership. I don't believe it. People say that, and maybe they'll go for one day, one game or whatever, but I don't believe it. But anyway, that is the topic. I guess let me know in the comments what you all thought about it. Huge missed opportunity for Ryan Clark, the other guys, Michael Porter Jr. to support the WNBA. But it is what it is. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, guys, you made it to the end of Women's Basketball Weekly. I do want to just say thank you for watching the whole show. I really do appreciate it. This show is all about women's basketball and just elevating the game because we love it. So we want to talk all about it. So I hope you all enjoyed the conversation. If you all have suggestions of stuff that you want me to feature in the future or criticisms or whatever, let me know. I love feedback, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you like the video and you have not hit the like button yet, what are you waiting for? Please hit that like button. That really, really helps the channel. It helps more people find the video. If you have not subscribed to this channel as well, please subscribe. And guys, we will be back for several live streams this week, including one on Thursday, one on Friday, and one or two on Sunday. So lots of stuff planned. So if you want to know about when I go live, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and stay tuned with the community tab. I will make sure to keep you all abreast of what is happening in that community tab. All right. Thank you all again so much. And until next time, guys. Bye, y'all.